Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John. Today we'll be starting my series of the top 5 albums of 2021. I'll be covering different musical genres in rock and metal. So in today's video we'll be talking about the top 5 alternative rock albums of 2021. So this list will include bands that fall under the category of alternative rock. So these bands have been making music since the 90s, and there will be one exception to the rule, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But most of this is either grunge or heavy rock or alternative rock. But keep in mind, if I don't include an album, I may be saving it for a different type of list. So I will be doing many different lists in the month of December. So let me just jump right into it. Coming in number 5 is Sweep It Into Space by Dinosaur Jr. Now, I never really liked this band back when they were popular in the 90s, but it was a pretty good album. It kind of grew on me. Has a classic alternative rock sound. Has a few heavy parts in some of the songs. So, basically, Dinosaur Jr., they're a rock band that formed in 1984. It became popular in the 90s, and they were kind of lumped together with all those grunge bands. Now, I don't really think they sound like Nirvana or Soundgarden or Alice in Chains, but more along the lines of those 90s alternative indie rock bands, maybe something like Counting Crows or Beck or Sonic Youth. But the song I like is called I Ain't. Kind of has a similar sound to their 90s style. The guitars are very grungy, kind of that light distortion and feedback. And his vocal style is very unique, and some people might not like it, but the song does have some pretty cool backing vocals during the chorus. Another song I like called I Met the Stones. This one has a very heavy metal opening riff. Now, Dinosaur Jr. doesn't really do metal, but every now and then they kind of incorporate a heavy sound. But I like this one a lot. I think that was the reason why it stood out for me. But it is like a grungy kind of song, and it is a pretty good album. So coming in number 4 is a Mammoth WVH Wolfgang Van Halen. Now, a lot of people didn't like this one. I think they were expecting him to do Van Halen Part 2, but it's not. Wolfgang did his own thing. He did a solo album. He recorded it by himself. He recorded all the parts of the album, and he did what he likes. He grew up during that post-grunge 90s, 2000s time, and that's the music he likes. Probably a little more in the direction of Breaking Benjamin or 3 Days Grace, and you do hear a lot of Alice in Chains influence. So one of my favorite songs called Stone, very Alice in Chains song type of song. It has heavy doom riffs, kind of the atmospheric sounds in the background, very distinctive style of singing. Another great one is the lead single Distance, and this one's a little different. It's a very heartfelt song. It's a laid-back rocker, some clean guitars and really nice drum beat. And also the song Epiphany, that one starts out with really cool modern rock bass line, and the riffs are really slow and grungy. And that's another really catchy rock song. So, like I said, it's not another Van Halen album, but it is him doing his own thing, and I thought it was pretty good. That's why it's at number 4. Coming in number 3 is Weezer with OK Human. This one I actually almost forgot about. It was released back in January. It's a short album, only about 30 minutes long. Basically, really the perfect length. It really has a nice flow to it. Now, the album is a very different type of album for Weezer. It's a stripped down type of album. The songs are kind of reminiscent of the Beatles at times. And they recorded this album with just analog equipment, and they used a 38-piece orchestra. So the album does have some great songs. We have All My Favorite Songs. Kind of an intro, reminds me a little bit of Eleanor Rigby, kind of really catchy pop song. They use a lot of orchestral instruments on this track. Alu Gooby kind of mixes some rap and traditional singing. Has a mid-tempo beat and nice instrumental interludes. Grapes of Wrath, a very catchy pop song. He uses a lot of string sections. Kind of reminds me of some of the older Beatles songs. We have Numbers, kind of a little slower song. Maybe more of a Radiohead type of OK Computer type of song. And they did kind of take the album title from OK Computer, by the way. And a lot of string sections, and there's playing my piano. Another slow piano based song, and it's pretty cool. Kind of Rivers Cuomo does mention a few of those like 2020, hot topics like getting back to the Zoom interview and Kim Jong-un blowing up a city. But again, it has a really Beatles sound and really great album. Coming in at number 2 is Jerry Cantrell with Brighton. So Jimmy Cantrell did the vocals and played guitar. He played bass and played keyboards on the album, and he did have some guest stars. He had Duff McKagan on bass. He had Greg Puciato from Dillinger Escape Plan on backing vocals. The songs are all original, except for the last track, a cover of Elton John's Goodbye. That's from the Mad Men on the Water album. Actually, that song I never really recognized until I heard it again. But the first song is called Atone, kind of like an Alice in Chains meets a southern rock type of vibe. Has a repetitive acoustic guitar riff throughout the song. Vocals are very grungy and kind of brings back an Alice in Chains type of sound. Jerry's vocals are kind of like channeling Lane Staley in this one. Has that same doomy and dreary atmosphere with the wah-wah effects on the guitar. And I really like the breakdown in the middle and where Jerry sings a little more like melodic and natural style. And I really like the southern rock riff in this song. Another good one, Had to Know, has a very 90s alternative rock sound, kind of like a little more like Pearl Jam at this time, or that like 90s Neil Young type of sound. Kind of has that like noisy, distorted riff with some keyboards in the background, kind of giving it a classic rock feel. And this one's a rocker, kind of contrasts well with the slower songs that appear before it. There's a part in the middle of the song where it kind of gets like a little slightly darker, kind of goes into a keyboard and guitar solo. You do hear some male backing vocals on this one as well, and I like this album very much. It's not, it's not really an Alice in Chains album, but it does kind of retain a lot of those elements, all the things that everybody likes about the band and the things that made Jerry Cantrell famous. I think the song Atone is probably the most like Alice in Chains sounding song, but afterwards, he kind of like does his own thing. There's some more acoustic stuff, some more country stuff, some classic rock, and probably one of his best solo albums. Coming in number 1 is Medicine at Midnight by the Foo Fighters. Another short album, just over like 35 minutes. And this album, the Foo Fighters kind of changed their sound a bit. A lot of songs having like a David Bowie influence, and there was a lot of variety in the album as well. They moved away from their post-grunge sound, and they still have the loud guitars and the catchy choruses. First single was Shame Shame. It was a single that kind of let everyone know about the overall tone of the album, and in the end, the song kind of just sounded very different from everything else on the album. Kind of like, probably not like the best choice for a lead single, but that's what they did. Kind of has like that like drum loop and a lot of different stringed instruments. But anyway, it's kind of a different song. But anyway, the other ones are really great. There's Waiting on a War. That was another single, and probably like the most like Foo Fighters sounding type of song. It's an acoustic ballad and kind of will be kind of one of their classics. And No Son of Mine, that's kind of like a harder song, maybe like the heaviest one. And it is a tribute to Lemmy, so that's why it's heavy. And not a long song, kind of like a short, I think it's a little over 2 minutes, but it does have like a very memorable riff, like a hard rock riff. And you do hear some like female backing vocals, like really like low in the mix. But all in all, it is a really good album. I liked it a lot. And by the way, this one actually have on CD. Pretty like cool digipack. It's actually kind of like thin, but I thought this one was actually definitely worth buying. So that's all. If you think I missed anything, don't worry. I may be including in a different video. I will be trying to cover as many genres as I can, but it's not going to be perfect. I'll try to like fit in every type of musical genre I can. I'm just going to do my best with this. But tomorrow, I will be doing the top 5 classic rock albums. These will be bands and artists that have been making music since the 70s. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, check out the other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.